Limina. Limina. Limina? Limina. Limina. Hey, what's up you guys, this is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on Dressed to Kill, we're going to be taking a look at the Limbo Limina skin. Now, as always, I'm going to provide you guys with a couple different looks for inspiration. In fact, I'm going to provide a fourth look that kind of sort of doesn't count, but it's gonna be in there. We'll also be taking a look at the weapon skin and Syandana that comes in the collection. Then, of course, we're going to be taking a look at animations, we'll be taking a look at how some Syandanas fit, and then at the very end, by popular demand, I'm always going to go ahead and swap out the helmets as well as the base skins and see exactly what comes out of that. So without ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, real quick before we jump on in, I do have a bit of a disclaimer. This is going to be another Redux episode, and what that basically means is there's not going to be any like crazy vignettes that come in between each shots with the color codes. You're actually going to be able to find the color codes down in the description box below. Number one, I find it to be a little bit easier to edit if I accidentally fuck up on the codes. Number two, if DE can't make a goddamn prime trailer, then guess what? I'm gonna cut back on the vignettes. I'm just kidding, that's not actually a real reason. But number three, it kind of makes these videos a little bit easier for me to put out for you guys without that feeling of dread that I'm gonna have to spend like an hour, 2 hours just trying to get some good shots and then creating the graphics for them. So I get these videos out sooner to you guys, and you get to kind of like enjoy the fashion frame inspo so that you guys can play along at home. So if you're looking for the color codes, down in the description box. Alright, so let's kick things off with the classic, iconic rose gold look. Now, I was really torn. There's something about this skin that I was like, it's kind of like delicate and wispy, so I really like this kind of creamy for its secondary tone. I thought it was very pretty, but there's also a part of me that really just wanted to go in and just let me show you real quick, because like I was doing multiple looks for this, and one of the looks that I really wanted to do was something with a very rich red. I almost wanted to go a little bit more like Chinese inspired with some of that just pop of color, and I really like it. However, a part of me was just kind of like, but it's just so classy and wispy, and so I had decided to go with this, but I wanted to make a point to show you guys that red and give you guys that vibe just in case you wanted to go ahead and feed into it. But I'm gonna have to like be no BS with you guys. At first, when I saw this skin, I was like, it's stupid. But after I played around with it, I actually really started to get into it, and one of the big things that I kind of fell in love with this skin for was all of the different animations. And I think one of the things that you guys wanted me to show off was the actual like passive thing where he went ahead and showed him taking off his helmet. So hopefully we can get a little quick shot of him doing that right now. Are you gonna agree with me, or are you just gonna, you know, let the kitty steal your scene? Come on, here we go. Tell me that is not kind of freaking cool. He takes the crown off and then he tosses it back on to his head. So the animations are definitely a big thing for me, and I wanted to go ahead and point that out with our first look because so many animations work with this, and I'm kind of jazzed. And when I say work with, there are, you know, a bunch of other skins out there, you know, that can kind of work in a lot of different ways. But whether you want to go more masculine with this, whether you want to go more feminine, it's really dope. So we always have the chilled out Zephyr animation, which I always love, and like the way that like all of the fabric hangs down looks so dope. The next one I wanted to go ahead and show off was the Nidus one, because if you want something a little bit more brooding, a little bit more masculine, a little bit more tough, he can totally get into that as well. I like the Necros Noble animation on him too, because when he kind of like moves his hands up in those animations, you get the flailing from that. Another great one, of course, she who shall not be named, but we got to make use of her some way, shape, or form, has got a great floaty animation that works perfectly with this. And then, I know some of y'all are gonna cringe, but tell me this does not kind of look dope. That Mirage animation just feels so good. And let's go ahead and take a look at what the cards. It just feels like it fits really well. So regardless of what animation set you want to put on this, I feel like a lot works, and a lot works quite well, which, to be honest with you, I was kind of shocked with, because I thought that the little flaily bits were going to be a bit too much for each of the individual looks, but they actually, the physics on them all just fall very nicely. There's a lot of clipping that happens, but the way they flow and fall, not half bad, not half bad at all. So let me go ahead and toss that Limbo, come on, everybody wants to make sure that we see the Limbo animation real quick. But even that, look at the way he bobs. The physics on those things are really, really dope. So let's go ahead and jump into the next look. Now, as you can see right here, I wanted to go a little bit darker, and I went ahead and tossed on an armor piece on this. And while the amount of armor pieces that we can put on this guy are a little bit more limited than some of the other things, I do feel like we've got some that work very, very well. So the inspo for this, I always like to do like a light look, and then I kind of want to turn it on its head and do a dark look. But as you can see, we have this kind of like mauve-y, slightly purpley tone, and then I've taken the energy color to be a little bit more green. I wanted to embrace a little peacockness, but because, you know, I love me a little bit of that peacock. But let's take a look at the armors that work really, really well on him right now. So, as you can see, I'm a big fan of the Vitala. The Vitala just fits. It just seems right. And one of the things that I want to point out here is you can see on the legs, you know, okay, he can't use too much leg armors, but in this case, because of the way that the Vitala is kind of set up, it almost like fits his little weird ballerina feet perfectly. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly it's a, what is it called? A sentient armor set, so it's gonna fit quite well, right? The next set that I wanted to go ahead and show off that I think actually really works well on it, but definitely gives him a different shape, is the Atavist set. I really, really, really like the Atavist set on him. And it kind of, I guess you would say, kind of bubbles him a little bit, kind of makes him more circular. Because as you can see right here on this side, it's very broad. This one actually kind of like brings everything in and makes him a little bit more dome-shaped, which I'm actually not mad at. But what I will say, and this one, and actually, you know what? This one's feet things work just fine too. So I'm gonna vouch for that one. The other one that I also wanted to go ahead and point out as well, so you can see Atavist works quite nicely on there. The only thing that I do have to say is you kind of have to play around with the color placement on this, mainly because of the fact that we have a double metallic on the base model, and then on the actual armor sets, it doesn't always quite match up. Another one that I do want to point out, which I think kind of sort of works, is the Syrinx. However, it is just the chest piece and the, the chest piece and the shoulder pieces. I would not actually use the leg pieces on him. It looks, you can use it on this leg right here, but I wouldn't necessarily put it on the other leg because, like, you know, I'm giving him a pass for clipping. He's gonna clip. That's just kind of what happens. Wow, it took me very long to find that armor piece. But legitimately, it just kind of looks off balance and weird. So I wouldn't really suggest going in with the Syrinx on his leg pieces. So as you can see right there, it gives a very, very similar shape to the Vitala, but it's not as crazy broad. The next one, this one I actually haven't tried, so I'm kind of curious. I'm just doing this like on a whim, to be honest with you, is the Tennogen 2018 armor pieces. I'm gonna say it's not bad. I'm gonna give that a stamp of approval. I'm gonna give that I might actually end up rocking that. So let's go ahead and slot on the feet too, because I'm quite, oh, that kind of works too. Okay. So we discovered that, you know, Rob is kind of into this. Definitely happy with what I am seeing so far. However, I will say one thing. The metallics on the shoulders are very, very nice. And I like a lot of the model on its own. So sometimes I don't like to like drag down the model with too many armor pieces. But occasionally you find a nice fit. I'm going to play around with that. I like how it kind of like cups the shoulders kind of the same way that the other ones do. The textures are a little bit off, but we'll see how that works out in the end. But definitely fond of that armor set. So let's go ahead and move on to our last look. And I kind of, you know what? We're not going to move on to our last look. What we're going to do is we're going to show what I wanted our last look to be, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. What I wanted our last look to be was this. Now, this is the INAROS Ramses skin, and I really wanted to do this red metallic because I thought that the red metallic would look absolutely fantastic. I'll go ahead and toss the color codes to this one down in the description box below as well, so that you guys can kind of get the vibe from it and kind of play around with it. I really wanted to incorporate this in. It's a very, to me, it was a Gundam look, and then everybody pointed out in the comment section that it was very sentient themed. Didn't really realize that. I was just thinking more in my head, you know, get some Gundams up in here and like maybe painting my own Gundam some colors like this. But I really wanted to do this, and you guys know that I wanted to do that red look a little bit earlier. However, I thought that it was just going to be too literal of a sentient, you know, skin, and then having it, the color scheme be sentient as well. So I had to say no. I had to pull back on that. But just in case you guys do want that color scheme, I'll toss that in the description box below. But the last look I did was, I think it's one of my favorite looks, and it's so weird because I like my metals to look like actual metals, right? So bronzes, golds, steels, like those are the kind of ones, like old antique kind of tone metallics. Those are always really nice. But what I wanted to do was look into copper. So as you can see, I actually used two different shades. One is like a true copper, and then one is kind of like a take on a copper that is oxidized. And I wanted to mix those two together because we had two different metallics. And I came out with this and I was like, oh my god, I kind of love it. It's a little unicorn-esque. I actually started out with a teal or a green that was a little bit more green than this, but I wanted to go ahead and pull them all into one specific direction. I really, really like it, and I even did like a kind of like dark purpley tone for the darkest material. By the way, that material, the primary, I kept them dark on all three of them. I tried to play around with doing a lighter variation, and I know that everybody loves saying, oh, Rob, you should try this out. I tried, and I did not like a lighter tone on there. I kind of like to keep it dark, but you can still have tonality in your dark tone, so just keep that in mind. Regardless, this is the one that I wanted to go ahead and show off when it came off to armors with the Edo armor set, Edo Prime armor set. I love the way that it looks. It's got, you know, the electricity on it, so it's a little bit whimsical. But with that armor part aside, we're going to take a look at Syandana's, because I know you guys have seen the Officium Syandana on basically everything. However, one of the things that I said, like, okay, the animations, a lot of animations work on this. A lot of Syandanas surprisingly work on this as well. So we're going to start from the top. So the Axura Syandana, which is from Tenogen by Malayu and Cobalt. Now, the coloration on this is a little bit off, but they kind of have that same sentient energy pattern. So if you really listen, if we're going in for the drapes, this is Drape City here, and it kind of, I feel like it really fits in with the theme, except I would have to do a custom color scheme on this because some of it doesn't quite fit. Again, we have a double metallic on the main frame, and then we don't have that for this back frame. But the Axura Syandana, very on theme. I think it will flow quite well with the rest of the look itself. Definitely a big fan of that. The other one that I went ahead and tried out that I was a real big fan of course, the Corona Syandana. If you want to keep things right, if you want to keep things tight, this is going to work quite well with it. You can see it from the back, and it kind of almost has a similar shape to the back of his helmet, and everything is kind of domed as well, so that kind of domey shape that it's got going on just fits. It's very dreamy, especially for this look. It's very dreamy, it's very pretty. Really like that a lot. One, I haven't tried this out, but this tends to work on a lot of things. The Daru Syandana, yup, it works. The Daru is just a good, especially with the Edo armor set, it's just consistently good, and is following with the drapes. It gives a little different of an energy drape. The next one, I'm a big fan of. You know, when I put this on, I was like, legitimately, good purchase. Good purchase. The Duovopi Syandana by Volkovian Lead, it's just, again, if you want that drape feeling, if you want to just embrace all the extra, like all the extra clipping, If you want to embrace all of the clipping, this is fantastic for it. The metallics also kind of embrace a little bit of that whimsicalness in this specific color scheme. I would actually make this 2 different tones of white and have them blend in. I think that that would be really, really pretty. But again, you know, that's all custom stuff. What else did I really, really like? Oh, the Impetuous Prime Syandana. Again, I would have to do a custom color scheme for this. But listen, if you gonna lean into the drapey, just lean into the drapey. And I'm just like, we're not going to worry about clipping today. We're just going to embrace all of the clipping issues and saying that it's intentional. Now, if you don't want something that is so clippy, you can always use the Mushu Syandana. I actually feel like this is gonna make me sound bad, but this definitely has like an Asian theme to it, and the fact that it's called the Mushu Syandana just kind of reminds me of Mulan. So I'm like, do it. We're into it. And then, of course, we also have the Officium Syandana. My Syandana, beautiful, wonderful, fits on basically everything. The Nasaru Syandana I haven't tried out. I don't like it. Straight out the gate. I don't like it. The Pistris Syandana, I don't know how to pronounce that, but it works. Rhoda I haven't tried out yet. Not my favorite, but it still definitely works. And then we'll get to the Sidriel and the other things that come in the bundle in a second. This one I actually loved. The Suratur Syandana that comes from Hildren, this, with the dash, with Limbo's little dash, I kind of fucking love it. I just feel like it's so on brand. So I was definitely into it. Like I told you guys, a bunch of Syandanas work with this thing. It's really hard for me to fault too many Syandanas as I feel like they fit. Love the Telos as always. Teplo, like embrace the clipping. Embrace the clipping. Just say yes to the clipping. So there's a ton that work really, really well on it. In fact, we're going to clip that. And then we're just going to embrace all of it. And we're going to do a little bit of the She Who Shall Not Be Named Garbage Queen. We're going to do that. And we're just going to embrace all of the clipping. It's just beautiful, right? It's just beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the weapon skins, because that is very, very important. As you can see right here, I've got it equipped on the Fusali, and they're gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful. They look like tarot cards. A part of me is almost kind of like his hips are so busy that it's really, really freaking hard to kind of see where they sit. But I'm loving that model. That scoop that they have on it is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, it clips on Limbo's waist, but again, he's the clipping king. That's how it works. And the cards are actually really, really an interesting way to kind of handle the fact that it's a tarot card, but also a thrown weapon at the same time. Now, last but not least, we're going to take a look at the Tatsu, which, by the way, can we just say this real quick? Like, having all of the sentient stuff together, fucking gorgeous. And in addition to that, having all of the sentient stuff and kind of coloring it a little bit Orokin, also pretty goddamn gorgeous. Like, it just all fits really, really well. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to look at the what is it called? The attachment, which is the Integra Sugatra. It's a Sugatra. There's nothing crazy about it. It's not the worst thing that we've seen. It's as drapey as the rest of him, so it definitely fits. But again, it's also not groundbreaking because it's a Sugatra. So let's go ahead and close things out by taking a look at the Syandana that actually comes with the sets, so that we're not ignoring anything. But as you can see right here, oh my god, where did it go? It's the Sidriel. It's somewhere here. We didn't take a look at that. I approve of that too. Where's the Sidriel Syandana? There you go. I think it looks good. It's, again, I always have like a little bit of an issue with DE Syandanas. There's always something that I can critique on it. But one of the things that I do really like is if you take a look at where the tatteredness of Limbo, the Limbo skin, which by the way, I love. The modeling on that tatteredness, I wish that they had done that tatteredness on the Banshee deluxe skin, because the Banshee deluxe skin originally had like a tattered skirt, and I was like, oh, it's so dope. And I'm like, I wish they had done it there. But that tatteredness actually carries over to the Syandana, and usually I'd like a Syandana to be a little bit shorter than this. I don't like super duper long Syandanas, but the fact that they kind of fall at the same height, I think was very intentional and looks really, really well done. I think my only problem is this weird layering bit in the center. I wish that they had instead maybe chopped that part off and kind of extended this bit and maybe put in some more energy effects to go along with it. But again, I'm being nitpicky. Love the textures that they've done on the end. Love the way that it like integrates really, really well with the skin, because let's face it, in the past they've done a couple skins where you're like, the accessories don't have the same texture, they don't have the same like metallics that are coated in for the shine, and I'm like, all right. However, this feels cohesive, it feels real good. I like it, and I would recommend. So let's go ahead and close things out with swapping off the helmets and swapping off the bodies. Now, this is something that I'm gonna be honest with you, I wait to do it in these videos because I want my first honest, real impression of how things look. Because sometimes it can be absolutely hilarious and sometimes it can be absolutely terrifying. So let's take a look at how all of this goes. We have the Limbo Prime helmet. I don't think that looks too bad. And then when you got the cape going on, it kind of made the cape is a tattered cape. It feels even more Dark Souls-y than before, right? Well, not Dark Souls-y, Bloodborne. I approve. This helmet, maybe like the coating is gonna be a little bit rough because there are 2 metallics on this and there's only 1 metallic on the helmet, but I think if you really wanted to make it work, you could. We've got the Arrestus helmet. I don't like it, but it has a metallic on it, so it actually manages to work. This one, I'm crossing my fingers, Limbo Grax. I don't hate it. I don't think it's the best thing out there for this, but number 1, the Limbo Grax helmet is hot fire. If you have not checked out that skin, check it the fuck out. It's dope. And I don't think that the helmet looks bad on this whatsoever. This has kind of been a hit, to be honest with you. Usually with the helmet stuff, it's like comedically bad. But bunch of animations work on this skin. Bunch of Syandanas work on this skin. Decent amount of armors work. And so far, a lot of these helmets are not half bad. Not even the base helmet is all that bad. It's not great, but it's not as hilariously bad as some of the other ones on there. Then we have the Limbo Magrite helmet. It's okay. We've got the Limbo Vazonia helmet. This is probably the worst out of all of them because the Vazonia set has a lot of kind of gradations that work with it. It doesn't work quite well here because of the double metallics. Then we have the Limbo That's kind of looking not half bad either. You know what? The helmets and the cape, very Bloodborne. And then we have the Limbo Vistixio helmet. You guys know I don't like pustules, so this is already going to be a pass. But if you really want some pustules, you can go and get it there. However, at the very, very end of the day, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick to the Limbo Limina helmet. Because I do like a matching set. So Future Rob here. Totally forgot to swap out the base skins. I started editing the video and I was like, oh, wait, I promised them that, didn't I? So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick and see how this helmet works on them. So here's the, no, we're gonna say no. Maybe if we do like a customization to kind of like work around the prime skin. But just on its own, even the helmet I don't feel really works. So I'm gonna assume that the rest of these, the Grax doesn't look terrible. It's a very odd look. It almost feels like he took off his necktie and put it on his head. So that's not really all that great. And of course the base Limbo skin actually looks a little bit better than the prime skin, but that might just come down to coloration. There's the Vasonia skin, which I knew was not gonna I don't know. I think you can make that work, but again, I just don't feel like the helmet really worked with that. And then of course the Vistixio skin with the pustules. We're gonna swap out of that real quick, but that's what that looks like. All right, so let's get back to the base skin, and I'm gonna go ahead and toss it back to Past Rob. Boop. Hopefully that was good and thorough for you guys and helps you guys pick out whether you want to pick up the skin or not. But those are all of my feelings on these. Go ahead and feel free to leave your feelings down in the description, not description box, the comment section below. Also, one thing that I wanted to note, after seeing it live and in-game, do you like it more or do you like it less? because I remember seeing the model of it, I was like, not impressed. I remember seeing the like the concept art of it, I was like, that's kind of weird, but kind of cool. I thought it was weird but kind of cool. Then I saw it in game, I was like, I don't know. And then now after playing around with it a little bit, I'm like, kind of feeling it a little bit more than before. And because of the fact that tell me he does not kind of look dope and statuesque when he's snapped to attention. Because literally when he does his little, I'm gonna remove my mini crown with the little like thing on it, tell me that you're not kind of into the skin just a little bit more. Leave your feelings down there. And that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.